All right, this video is going to cover a few concepts. It's going to look at a section drawing. So we're going to be taking a close look at a full section drawing. And we're also going to be looking at a review of counterbores, and we're also going to look into countersinks. So what I've done is created a demo drawing here. It's our feed block, and I've already got it started a little bit on some things that I think you guys will have no problems doing. And we're going to go through now and look at how the rest of our section drawing is going to shape out. So remember the section drawing, often we're just going to do two views. So in this case, we're going to do a top view as an orthographic, and we're going to do a side view also as an orthographic. Now we're going to draw it as a standard orthographic, except we're going to be thinking that we're going to be cutting this object in half. Okay, which is the concept of a section view. So things that we need to do is show where it's being cut in half. And in order to do that, we're going to create some sectioning layers. So I've already created a section layer. I colored it yellow. It's just a continuous layer. It's basically just a yellow layer that we call the section layer. We're also going to make a second section layer. So a review on how to make new layers. You click on layer properties. You click on the little stack of papers here where it says a little orange tab. Click on it, a new layer pops up, and we're going to call this one Section Phantom. We're going to change the color to match. So we're going to choose yellow. And we're going to go to our line type, click on that, select line type. Now, this shows our loaded line types. If you don't have Phantom listed there, you just have to click on load and then select the Phantom. It'll automatically load it into your selected layers. So we'll click on Phantom, hit OK, and now it's selected as a Phantom layer type. Let's close that up. Okay, the next thing we want to do is create a leader. So we're going to be using leaders to show basically an arrowhead coming past our object to show where the piece of material is cut away from. So to do that, we're going to go into our section layer. We're going to go to annotate, and we're just going to change a couple settings with our leaders. So I just clicked on leaders here, clicked on the little arrow right there. And now we're going to go into our multi-leader style manager. We're going to modify it. And the settings that we want to have is our landing points here to 3. We want to uncheck the landing settings and the landing distance to be 0. Okay, so those are our settings. We might need to adjust this scale too. So this is where you would adjust your scale. And we'll close that. And now if we click on multi-leader, what we can do is select around in this area here. We're going to click, bring our arrowhead down. I'm going to line it up with our center, drag it across, and then just bring it in like that. So now you can see that we have an arrowhead pointing up, just like any of the demos that you've seen. They should look like that. And now I'm going to do it on the other side as well. So I'm going to line it up at the top, line it up with our center point, bring it across, and now we have our leaders that are showing basically where our cut line is going to be, and that we would remove that part of our object. Okay. We will do a phantom line coming across here as well, but just so you guys know, this is where we're going to be cutting the object open. So in our front view now, we're going to want to draw what we would see on the inside. So normally we would see our counterboards as hidden layers. They're going to be actual object layers now because it's cut open. So let's start drawing our counterbores here. I'm just going to extend this construction line just to give me some reference points to go across from here. Okay, so we're going to just bring this line down here, and we're going to start shaping out this counterboard. I'm in a construction layer meant to be object, but I'll change that after. So these are 10 units deep. And we'll just bring that across here, just like that. I'm going to change those over to my 0 layer and flip into 0 layer. And now we're going to send this down here. And this guy is coming down here. So this is what our counterbore is going to look like now. Remember to always draw this back edge here. Some people forget to put that one on there. We'll do the same thing. Actually, I'm just going to copy this, save us a little bit of time. And drop it like that. Okay, so our counter borders look good. Now we need to create our countersink. Now our countersink here says that it's 10 diameter, 30 deep, 82 degree countersink, 7 deep. So let's start with this 10 diameter, 30 deep, because if you were actually making this out of wood or metal, that's usually what you'd start with is you'd get this hole drawn. So let's now go back into a construction layer, and I'm going to come down the middle here. We're going to go down 30 units, and it's going to be 10 diameter. So I'm going to go 5 this way and then back across. This is just a construction marking. And we're also going to have a mark. Our countersink says it's 82 degrees at 7 deep. So I'm going to put a mark at 7 as well and shoot this across 5 that way and 10 that way. Okay. Now, if we were to actually put our object layer on that, we would see that we have a shape just like that. Okay. Now it's time to draw our angles for our countersink. We can't draw the one on the top here because we don't know what the outer circle size is. That's going to be determined by the distance here and the angle of these lines. It says it's 82 degrees, so if we go to just draw a line here and draw a line at 82 degrees, it's going to take us right around in this area here. And that really doesn't make sense. What it's referring to is the angle between the two angled lines that make up our countersink. So in order to get that angled number that this line is going to be drawn off of this corner, we have to realize that it's 82 degrees total. So that means it's going to be 41 degrees from a vertical line in one direction and 41 degrees from a vertical line in the other direction. So then those two partial angles will add up to give us 82 degrees. So we're going to want to now go 90 degrees minus half of our countersink angle. So we're going to go 90 minus 41, which gives us 49 degrees. So if we tab here, set this to 49 degrees, and on the other side, we want to go 90 degrees plus 41. So that's going to give us 131 degrees. And now I'm just going to trim those up. And that will now give us our true countersink. Now, to check that, we could just do a quick little dimension on it. And you can see we're at 82 degrees. That's exactly what we want. Okay. Now what we can do is transfer these, the size of these holes and lines up to the top. So let's send this up. And I'm just going to copy a couple of lines to use for reference. And now we know that we can draw our circles at the same size. So we've got this guy here, and then we've got our outer one as well. So that's what we would see from our top view. Okay, I'm also going to need a line cutting across here to get the back side of that countersink. There we go. Okay, so now we should have our object mostly drawn out. The only thing we're missing is this back piece here, is this would be seen as that line right there. Now that would normally be a hidden line, but because we're going to have cut this open, we would actually see this back edge of our object here. So we'd see that surface right there. So it's not a hidden line. Okay, next thing we're going to do is do some hatching. So I'm going to turn off my construction layers. And when we go to hatch, we only want to hatch area that has been cut. So if we think of a cutting line going straight across here, which I guess, let's do our cutting line first. That might make it easier for you guys to see. You can do this in whatever order you want. But let's do section line coming across. So there's our actual cut line. Now I would like to scale this up a little bit. So I'm just going to scale that up to say 15 units. 15 times it. Okay. Now we have our section line cutting across in a phantom layer, and now we know exactly where we're cutting. So we only, on our front view here, we only want to put hatching in the areas where we've actually cut through material. We don't want to hatch open air space. So we're going to go into hatch. I'm going to select steel. I've scaled this up to 20. If it's set to 1 on this scale of drawing, you might find it to be quite small, but I've set it up to that. Some people will hatch in the same color of layer as their section lines. Some will just use a white line. I'm fine with you guys doing either way. So we're going to click on our internal point. So that would actually be object here that we're cutting through. This would be open air space. So we don't want to hatch that. We haven't actually cut through material when we cut right here. That's going to be this open space in here. Same with that. This would be material. We want to hatch it. None of this in here would be material. This would be material. This would be open space. We don't hatch that. And then this back piece here would also be open space. So we've now provided our hatching for our drawing. We've got our section line cutting across. You could dimension this as well, and then that would complete our drawing. We don't need a side view of this. We have our top and front, which suffices for all the information that we would need.